Hello and welcome to a new episode of Pat's Chat. Today, already the 43rd episode, a little break in between. I hope you don't mind, but I have another awesome guest with me today, Nadia Jalil, founder and CEO at MyBump Media, advertising company. Not the usual one, a very special one. We will learn about this a little bit later. But first of all, thank you very much, Nadia, for making the time and joining me today.
Hi, Patrick. Thank you so much for having me as well, and I appreciate a colorful introduction.
Yeah, colorful. Thank you very much, Nadia. Malaysian, grew up here. Where exactly you're from in Malaysia?
I'm from a small town in the outskirts of Perak called Tanjung Malim. That's where I grew up. Spent most of my childhood, but then after that, I kind of moved around as well. I have a single mom, so she was moving around a lot, and I had the opportunity to kind of spend a few years in the UK and studied there, and then East Malaysia as well, before coming back to Peninsular Malaysia and going straight to boarding school. I think my mom had enough of me, so after that, I went to boarding school, and I kind of just went on from there.
Okay, when you say like your mom had enough of you, the typical thing, and it's quite impressive. I figured out there's a pattern. So many guests I have all studied law and later changed, becoming entrepreneur outside of the legal area. What was it for you? The typical thing? Oh, my mom wanted me to do it, and I had to do it, or was it something else for you?
Yeah, that's right. So I think I've always been a little bit more talkative growing up. And so my mom actually had mass communication planned out for me. But I thought, hey, I'm going to take law just to up the game, which is kind of funny because now I'm actually in the mass comm / advertising industry. So, mom knows best. But the growing up and really understanding the concept of law and the workarounds about it, I think that also gave me valuable foundation to get where I am today.
Nice, yeah, and of course it is very helpful to know the law, what you can do, where are the boundaries and things like that. But what is the thing really? I mean, maybe you can talk me through your thought process. Like you were working for a couple of companies, right, in legal departments, but then you made a change. Like what was the triggers for you? Is it too boring? Is it just not exciting enough? Is it more exciting to be entrepreneur, or what was it for you, Nadia, that you changed the not only the to your own company, being self-employed, but also change the entire industry, if you want?
Yeah, so right after graduating, I jumped into corporate law for a good, I think, 5 to 6 years, and kind of hopped between different companies, different industries, and trying to apply what I learned. I think throughout that time as well, when it comes to law, it's a very structured system. It is what it is, and you look at precedents, but it's always about looking back, right? And after getting to know advertising and the marketing industry, well, to say it simply, I think advertisers and marketers have more fun, but that's beside the point. It's also the possibility of communicating at a mass scale, and I think that creates and paves a better growth for companies, for individuals, in terms of storytelling and projecting what is it that we want to envision in the future and working towards that goal.
You mean storytelling? I mean, as a lawyer, you also have to tell the story, but you have to stay with the truth. While maybe in the advertising area, you can be very visionary. You can have like fiction also included. Is it that what you mean?
Yes, that's right. You're right. Both law and mass communication or advertising is a form of storytelling. But if you're looking at law, it's about stories that has been told and applying that to current situations. But for advertising and marketing, it's a storytelling of what is possible, and also working towards a future that one can envision, or maybe in terms of providing or creating positive storylines. So that's the angle I'm looking at, and I think marketing as a whole and advertising as a whole has boundless opportunities of creating a better world. Not to go cliche here, but in that context.
Okay. Very nice. How would you describe yourself then? Like as a person, your characteristics. What is your self description?
I've always believed myself to be a dreamer that follows on with execution. But the possibilities excites me, you know. And from there, I've had this immense interest in social impact initiatives. Any kind of solution that has one in terms of course, margin of businesses creating profit, but also at the same time being able to give back to the community or to the environment in a more positive tone. So social impact initiatives are one of the interests that I hold at heart. And then that's also one of the reasons why I started MyBump Media. Aside from that, I'm also a big believer of the underdogs, second chances. First time you try and learn how to get it right. And the second time you should be able to do it right. And I think the rest is just about hustling on, doing the best that you can, and never settle for what you have.
Understand. Yeah. So I saw the last company you were working was Kazana, which is quite a big let's say enterprise or organization, right? One would assume like, oh, there's a lot of possibilities for vision there too, but still you decided after a few years to start MyBump, your own company. What was like the basis for that? What was the point where I say like, oh, let me try to start that company?
Oh, so Khazanah is known as the investment arm for the government of Malaysia, but they also have few mandates, especially in terms of nation building investments and looking into nurturing local as well as bringing Malaysia to the global scale. I think from there is where I got a lot more interested in terms of social impact initiatives. I was also part of the entrepreneurship ecosystem research team, kind of looking into what are the players in the current ecosystem and where do we want to go. So this was like 5 years, 6 years back, where I know that the startup ecosystem in Malaysia were very young and the players like were very limited. So from there, we looked into framing a framework, coming up with a framework for accelerators, corporate accelerators. And that's how I guess MyBump Media started as well. I was very busy in looking into the framework. So I decided, hey, I'm going to participate in this accelerator myself. And from that accelerator, again, we were looking into social impact initiatives. And the idea of coming up with MyBump Media was ironically very simple. I get stuck in traffic a lot. So we're looking into cars. I see a lot of cars. I see a lot of billboards. Why can't we just match this together and in a way allow people to earn from advertising? So 5 years, fast forward, right? There's a lot of changes that happened. But yeah, that's how I started from Khazanah, in working in a corporate, working in the legal team, and then transitioning to starting MyBump Media.
Okay, very interesting. And we come back to MyBump in a moment. First of all, I wanted also to check with you on some of the terms that we hear often. The advertising versus the marketing. From your perspective, like what is the way you would explain what it is, or what is mainly the difference? As many people are using this interchangeably. What is for you the main descriptions, or like the main factors that makes advertising versus marketing?
Right. So again, because I also jumped into, I don't have a educational background starting in advertising and marketing, so I had to learn on the job. But if I could put it in a simple term, I would say marketing is your map, right? You have a goal that you want to achieve, and how do you come up with a map that towards achieving your goal. And then advertising is essentially your car to get to that destination. And again, when you're talking about cars, there's so many types of cars. You can go with your Ferraris, or you can go with your convertibles. So the choice of cars, again, depends highly on what is your goal. So marketing and advertising, even though people like to differentiate it, I do believe one relies on the other. Your advertising strategy can only be as good as your marketing strategy, and your marketing strategy can only be as good as your advertising strategy as well. So linking those two together is the challenge when it comes to marketeers nowadays, and also identifying what is the best roadmap to get to the destination of your company's growth.
Yeah, correct. And when we talk about challenges, the main challenge I can imagine for the past 2 years is like, especially here in Malaysia, we had lockdowns almost, well, with a small interruption, almost 2 years, right? People were not able to go out, or very limited. Like, how was the impact like for advertisers to do like these physical advertisements versus the digital advertisement, where like people would probably more relate to, because it's all online?
Yes, that's right. So I unfortunately, we started on the bad side of the impact. So in terms of MyBump Media, one of our services, or our stronghold in terms of our services, is car advertising. And naturally, you're right, with MCO happening and lockdown, people can't really go out. Out of home is not that relevant at that point of time. I think nowadays it's more positivity, I guess, in the sense of acceptance from marketeers. But during this downtime as well, it has created a new level of appreciation, I guess, in terms of data, performance tracking capabilities, all the strengths of digital advertising. And when a lot more consumers are jumping online, they don't have an option to do so. Advertisers are also taking up this opportunity to learn each consumer behavior, how to do targeting, and kind of expect the same level of measurability as well as performance when it comes to outdoor. So this is kind of the bridge that I guess on our part, we were quite fortunate when we started our platform as well. That was the goal that we wanted to achieve, making sure that out-of-home advertising or traditional advertising is at par when it comes to trackability, when it comes to performance measurement. And this shift in marketeers and advertisers is, I think, quite refreshing. A lot more traditional marketers are looking into, hey, what's the benefit of digital? How we can also apply this to physical or out-of-home concept. And this paves, I think, in terms of growth, newfound possibility for how physical and outdoor advertising is going to be seen in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And you just mentioned the car wrap. We see it in your background also.
Yes, I'm going to scoot this a bit.
Yeah. So interestingly or funnily, I remember that basically this picture was what caught my attention on your company or your profile also. I very well remember that some time ago when I reached out, the car wrap. So this is one thing that you do, but MyBump you describe as an advertising technology platform powered by the crowd to provide brands with 360-degree reach. That is one description. The other one I prefer a little bit because it's very, very interesting, also and insightful. The company aims to provide continuous passive income for everyday people through advertising. That's like the social impact initiative that you were talking about. But first, to start with that, like, what is it that you really do with MyBump?
Yeah, so you're right. That sums it up. We're a two-sided platform. So one side, we have the brand owners, advertisers, and marketers looking to share about their products. On the other side, we have our brand ambassadors, who are everyday people just looking to earn passive income through advertising. So at growing as a platform, we had to make sure that we meet both demands and expectations as well on both sides. And the most common question I get from advertisers is what is advertising, crowd advertising? And because the crowd economy has been something that has been going on for a few years, No, you're familiar with crowdsourcing, crowdfunding. So introducing crowd advertising wasn't really a much of a challenge, except in trying to validate the effectiveness of our platform. So when brands work with us, especially in the initial phase, we work a lot with a feedback basis. They come to us and say, hey, I want to know where these cars are traveling. That's how we came up with our GPS tracking via our app. So our ambassadors, whenever they're on the job, they need to click tracking and we know the exact GPS location. That's how we also measure the performance. We get the traffic condition data whenever they drive. And that serves as a benchmark for our advertisers. And I think from there as well, it's been a lot more technology supported platform when we provide our services to the client, especially for outdoor. There's a lot more metrics that is unsure on part of the client. When you look at Google ads, Facebook ads, okay, it's very streamlined. It's more mature. For out of home, there's few metrics that we look into, and ultimately we kind of relied on Google traffic data as well as footfall traffic data when it comes to impression count. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. I mean, it is really an exciting idea, to be honest. So, okay, on one side you have the companies, they want to place the product, right? Make the advertisement on cars, and then you have like people like me that can do this car wrap, right, and drive around. I mean, I see it really a lot here. It's a very interesting concept, and you just bring these people together, right, the two parties. And what you're saying is like you track the cars with the GPS data. That is part of the performance. So is it based on like, is the payment based on like kilometers you're driving, or how often you are like passing which location, if you drive more in the city or more outside? How do you really do that, or how does the customer really benefit from that?
Right. So again, on our ambassador side, their job is very simple. Again, our aim is to provide passive income opportunity wherever they drive. Hey, if you can earn an extra few bucks, why not, right? So whenever they drive, they click tracking. So we do measure their performance based on mileage driven, as well as the traffic condition whenever they're driving. So if they drive in more heavy traffic, then they earn more. But the challenge about managing hundreds of people in one go is always about consistency and structure. So we had to come up with, how to put it simply, some people kind of breach is a bad word. Abuse the system before they get it right. Yeah, so we had to go
around the rules, right?
yes, that's right. So we had to manage our ambassadors and kind of have two steps ahead of them in terms of how they can kind of go around the system that we are creating. So nowadays it's all task-based. So I found that that's the best way to manage a big scale of ambassadors. So for example, if we send them a task, you have to come to a specific location for our car wrap partners to wrap your car, then they get certain earnings. If they come on time, higher earning. If they come late, then it's going to reduce your amount. So it's always about the carrot and the stick approach. And I think that's the learnings that we had when we were building the platform, and kind of breaking it down each task to more digestible job scopes for our ambassadors, which allows us to manage a bigger group at one go and at scale.
Yeah. Did I understand correctly? Did you just say like, okay, if they are driving in traffic jam, that is more valuable for the customer?
Yes, that's right. Heavy traffic. Okay, just to clarify, if it's heavy traffic, it's not the best. But if it's moving traffic, then that's the best, because that's the amount of cars that's moving, and people seeing the ads will be much more. So we also derive the performance data from the from the traffic data. So if a driver is driving in heavy traffic or flowing traffic versus non-traffic at all, and we're looking at 2 p.m. in the afternoon and 2 a.m. in the morning, the amount of impressions that's being generated as well as the compensation are going to be subject to that as well.
That is okay. Interesting. I like that. You just explained. I came across two terms I want you to explain. One you just did, the crowdvertising, which is obviously a mix of crowd and advertising, like the crowdsourcing. Very interesting. The other one is CrowdStorm. I think that's another one of your services. So the car wrap is one. CrowdStorm is another one. What is it about really?
Yeah, it all ties together. I don't want to say that we created crowd advertising. We didn't. It's a concept that is already there. So just to clarify, when you look at traditional advertising or conventional advertising channels, billboards, radio, or TV, it is always about one-way communication to a mass audience, right? So this is known as one-to-many advertising approach. So this has been the advertising approach in the past, I think before 1990s. But when digital advertising started to grow, this has somewhat shifted consumer behavior in terms of how they receive information, how do they, the reasons they buy brands, for example. And because now everyone is hyper connected either through their phones or either through their social media profiles, this creates communities of followers, right? And this community-driven brand engagement is what we say as many-to-many advertising approach. So this is crowd advertising in terms of its definition. So what we are doing at MyBump Media is taking this a step further by also applying the same concept of crowd advertising to traditional methods, be it car wrap advertising for out-of-home medium, or even wearing T-shirts and kind of just going out and promoting brands on their shirt or on their whatever they wear. So this is a form of crowdstorm. So crowdstorm, to put it simply, is like a new form of flash mobs. So if you've seen flash mobs, right, there was a trend in the 90s where people get together and just dance in malls or in open spaces, but the trackability or the performance guarantees weren't there. What we provide is the measurement for advertisers to see if I'm spending, let's say, 1,000 ringgit on this event, what is the expectations or what measurability can I expect for me to justify my ROI? So that's where we come in terms of as an ad tech crowd advertising platform.
Okay, so more based on data, so the your customers can also understand and get information back, right? On well, as you just said, like how effective was the initiative that they did.
That's right.
Okay, so car wrap shirts you mentioned. So how easy is it? I mean, can everyone just apply at MyBump that he wants to be like? How did you call them? Like the people just doing the advertising for you?
The ambassadors, right?
The ambassadors, yeah. Can everyone just apply to be an ambassador, or what is like the process, or what are the challenges with it also?
Okay. Naturally, we want to make this platform available to everyone. I'm a big supporter of AirAsia. I like the tagline, everyone can fly. So what we're pushing for is everyone can earn through advertising income. And
okay.
So on our ambassador side, or if anyone that is interested to earn through advertising, they just log into our app, download our app and register. So from there, we can also understand specific questions or specific questions. We ask them questions to categorize our ambassadors for advertising strategies. So for example, there are three main data sets that we use: demographic, geolocation, and consumer behavior. And whenever an ambassador registers with us, we try to tag them accordingly. And when a client comes to us and have a specific marketing strategy, so we match the ambassadors based on that marketing strategy as well. So this gives a better reach, targeted reach in terms of outdoor as well as online reach. And from our ambassador side, we have over 50,000 ambassadors at the moment. Not everyone have had the opportunity to run an advertising job because of that matching process we have to do. So not everyone is fit to be an ambassador for one brand, but they can always be an ambassador for any brands, right? So the matching process is a bit of a challenge, and we're constantly trying to make sure that everyone has this opportunity to earn. In fact, the first few campaigns that we did, we ran a survey with our brand ambassadors trying to understand, hey, what's the challenge that you have when you do an advertising job, and what are the expenses that you spend from the earnings that you get. I think one of the more heartfelt feedback that we got was a single mom saying that it's super easy. She just drives when she goes to work and coming back, and from there she earned passive income. And on top of that, she got to know that her baby is also lactose intolerant, and lactose intolerant milk or non-soy milk is a bit more expensive. So she's using the earnings for her childcare needs. So I think that kind of put us in a different perspective, because at the end of the day, it's not just about how effective an advertising channel is. It's also about the lives that you're impacting.
Yeah.
And if it's possible for someone to earn so easily from a platform, why not make it possible to everyone as well?
Yeah, sure. That's beautiful. I really like the idea and the story of MyBump, and a very successful one also. I mean, I scrolled through like the customers that you're working with. It's quite impressive. I just saw like Disney, Pixar, or WWF, like the World Wildlife Foundation, are customers locally. Touch and Go also, Lim Tire, Etika. What is for you like one of the most exciting projects that you were working on?
Yeah, I would say one of the most detailed projects we did was for Disney. It was in conjunction with the launching of Cars 3, and Disney kind of gave us a challenge for us to kind of meet as well. So they wanted to target their advertisements specifically to parents that have kids below the age of 12 and send and pick up their kids from school in Kota Damansara. So that was what was thrown to us. And I'm also grateful with the team that I have. They kind of took it up and went on searching for ambassadors that specifically meet those requirements. And we were able to do a mass launching of Disney's Cars 3 movie, as well as during the premiere launch, we had a car storm, having like, I think there was over 50 cars coming together at Starling Mall to just hype up the event.
Interesting. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
That was an amazing experience.
Yeah. Okay. I think you would have like a lot more stories to share and tell about that, because it's really exciting what you do. I can now understand why you move away from the lawyer's life to found your own company. I'm very happy to see still during this time, as you said, it's a difficult one for you also. Was that like, would you say like, I think the company exists for 5 years, 4 or 5 years. Is that like the most difficult challenges that you had to overcome, like the last 2 years when everything went lockdown and the physical advertisement was not so in demand anymore?
Yes, that's right. I think from our growth plans, we've always allocated the first 2-3 years about understanding the market, making sure that our tech platform is up to the expectations of our clients. And 2019, 2020 was supposed to be our go-to year, where we were already prepared in terms of our platform and also client management. Again, unfortunately, it's an experience that a lot of businesses had to go through. And we also took that opportunity to kind of look back into our tech platform and what other value can we provide to our clients. So towards end of last year, we introduced our new services, which is namely the online endorsement, as well as the consumer feedback, and the CrowdStorm as well. So before this, we have been providing those services on an ad hoc basis at the request of a client, a bit more manual than we like to be. But we took this time to actually look into the tech stack, what are the features we can replicate. And I'm also very proud of the team to say that we've launched this new services officially this year. And it kind of provided us the revenue and the financials that we need to survive, especially with the online endorsement and consumer feedback side.
Awesome. Congratulations to that. I'm very happy to hear that. Maybe to
Thanks,
finalize the
Patrick.
talk, something that you can give back to the audience, your experience, one thing that you think if you could have done it differently, like if you knew, what would it have been that you, just would do differently than from how you did it in the end that would have helped grow the company faster, better?
Yes, I think for me, when I jumped into doing MyBump Media, my aspirations or the team aspirations were pretty clear. We wanted to help everyone earn from advertising, but the advertising industry itself is a whole new ballgame. So I think in terms of recommendation to anyone who wants to start their own business or even expanding their business is trying to build that network from the get-go, trying to understand the specific pain points, the specific characteristics of players in a specific in the industry that you're jumping into to better serve and also position yourselves well in the industry. So that has been an ongoing challenge, I think, even for us, because I don't come from an advertising background. And naturally, when you're creating a platform that intends to disrupt an industry, the existing industry players are not that well receptive of it. But we've had immense support from a few of the brands that work with us, as well as our mentors. And I think in the long run, crowd advertising is a concept that will mature, especially with the tracking capabilities that's possible. And I look forward to working with more partners as well and making this reality and helping a lot more people earn from advertising.
Very nice. Beautiful sentence to end this chat. Thank you so much, Nadia Jalil, for your time, founder
Thanks.
CEO at MyBump Media. Please reach out to Nadia on social media, LinkedIn. I know the other one I will put also in the description. Visit mybump.my for more information and download the app so you can potentially become an ambassador. And for all the companies out there, you want to have a different way of advertising. I think it is really a beautiful company, a beautiful initiative that has a real social impact that helps citizens to go through this very difficult time. So thanks again, Nadia, for building this, for your time sharing with us today.
And thanks so much, Patrick, for the opportunity as well for me to share this with everyone. And I really appreciate you having me here today.
Sure. Thanks to you. And thanks for watching this episode. To the audience, as always, I hope you like that episode. And then I see you hopefully also next week for a new episode of Pat's Chat. Thanks. Have a great day.